Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking, and this morning I'm looking at a book from Routledge. It's in their revision series of books. It's called the Optimise Law Revision series, and this one's on land law. There is a companion website to go with it. The book's there, we'll have a look at it in a minute. It's been written by Emma Warner-Reed. You can, it's not a big book. There's the front, the spine, there's the back bit. They say result focused, that's what it's all about. Understand the law and remember the details. Avoid common mistakes, get the most from your revision. That's what you do with this. It's not it's 300 pages, shortish index at the back, but lots of nice little pictures. What you can and can't do, ticks and crosses. You've got some very interesting stuff. Case precedents are given, pride of place. You've got quite a lot, for instance, quite a lot of little diagrams which will help you. That's dealing with easements. You've got the issues for debate. So when you've got an argument that you might be putting forward, the need possibly for a look at a particular case where you might think that the case has been incorrectly decided, because it does happen. You've then got with, for instance, co-ownership, always an interesting area of law. You've got, again, diagrams and common pitfalls about joint tenants and tenants in common. And you've got all sorts of other things. You do have them very useful case summaries and chapter summaries at the end. And then we go to the front of the book. There we go, it's the Optimise series. And it explains what they do. There are 12 topic areas, all of which are possible examination question areas. Optimise your blueprint for exam success, which is our quote. Why do you want to have this particular book? Well, there are lots of reasons, both as a learner, as a lecturer. Optimising the law, it sets out the mission statement for the book. Then there's a very important preface, which sets out what to do. Then you've got the guide to the companion website. We're moving into a new era with teaching, and this companion website, that shows you what it looks like, is extremely helpful because it's up to date. It's got a whole load of tips, additional resources, and it's just the sort of thing that I think you will find very helpful in these, actually quite difficult areas of law. The chapter maps are also quite good if that's the sort of thing you like. I found them quite helpful because it can picture in your mind how possibly in this case, the characteristics of land and what land includes, for instance, just to start with. Then they have an introduction, and then of course the legislation. It's not too heavy in terms of the content on the really boring bits, which you've got to do in any event, but I like the way that they present this, and we've written a review, and this is what we say. Elizabeth and I, that's my wife Elizabeth, and I have had a look at this, and we've decided that these Optimise Your Blueprint for Exam Success tips, which they are excellent for students because it's a difficult subject area, land law, and they're superb in our view for your final revision programme. So what Emma Warner-Reed has produced here is an excellent statement of the main points of study covering 12 topic areas for English land law. Optimising the law and catering for undergraduates looking for a departure from a traditional law text and revision materials which are actually available elsewhere. Remember, the old standard textbooks are not the easiest to read, and that's why this brings the subject, I think, alive much more. The table of key cases, which I've indicated earlier, provides a particularly useful aid to learning. Now, the publishers Routledge, which is a company in the Taylor and Taylor group, it's actually Taylor and Francis group, state that you can always trust Optimise Law Revision result-focused series of books which they publish, because they've been produced with the learning needs of the students firmly in mind at the beginning for revision. And the companion website also gives you additional advice and exercises online as well. And I can't stress that whilst you've done your course of study, when you get to your revision program at the end, you may need to have something like this, because you'll have done your assignments, you'll have looked at the subject, and then you've got to bring everything, sort of pull everything together. What Emma Warner-Reed does is she sets out in this excellent optimised book a formidable explanation of what is readily recognised as one of the hardest legal subjects, English land law. And it's done in an easy understandable terms, which is what is, as I say, a very difficult area for many to study and teach, although it may look superficially easy when you look at it at the beginning. But she does actually bring out the difficult bits and tries to explain them, and she does it in this particular format, which I think is helpful for a lot of learners. As with all the Routledge textbooks, this particular title is one of the best, we think, on the market at the moment, giving a full introduction into the way in which the land law operates in England and Wales. I like the chapter maps at the beginning, which sets everything out in almost a pictorial form, if you like, and the sections on putting the learning into practice, whereby learners can use the material throughout to good problem-solving use. The chapter summaries are also very useful, allowing the learner to pull all the threads together which they've learned to assist them with a strong measure of progress as they go through the course. Because remember, there's a bit of psychology here. As you build up your knowledge, you want to have that more confidence, so that when you go into the exam hall, you feel you know the subject and you know what you want to say, but just remember to answer the question. Obviously there's a lot of stuff concerning good problem answering advice as well. As I say, the chapter summaries are useful because it pulls together the threads, and we consider the book has a much wider potential readership than anyone just interested in law, because it actually has topical matter which could be of interest to a much wider group of people. One of the main reasons why we feel that Routledge actually offers outstanding value, both in terms of cost and content, is the way in which their authors, who are all legal experts, explain substantive legal issues in a readable fashion. And so for both tutors and students, a decision on which textbook or revision book to use is always a difficult one, but it's clear to us from the feedback we've received that from students that Routledge leads the field, and Optimise as a series is particularly welcome. Many of the titles, of course, have excellent links to the websites, which I've indicated with these companion websites which I've shown you. I'd also say that the formats used by Routledge for their books are very much of a mainstream formula now for legal text, which eases the student into methods of legal reasoning for those just beginning their legal studies, and basically for all undergraduates as they generally go through. You normally will do land law in the second year, so you're not hit with it straight away, although some syllabuses are different. For the Optimise series, do look at the guide to the companion website, which I've showed you at the front of the book, then read the preface and the main guide. The Optimise structure of the innovative chapter maps, I think, also will be of great significance in the future, because it does put in perspective what you're actually looking at, and you may find it useful to go back to that afterwards to get some idea of what the picture is you have in your own mind of the general purpose of land law and the particular areas which are quite important. So for us reviewing the book, the companion website has been an innovation. Therefore do look at the features at the beginning of the book, and I'm sure you can engage with it. The book covers all the main topic areas which an undergraduate and professional law syllabus would want, and I say the supporting resources from the web are very good. There's much food for thought, we think, throughout this excellent Optimise series for its topicality and on where we are now and where we're going with current matters involving real property in the 21st century. So thank you very much to Routledge and to Emma for an excellent book. Just show it to you again so you can see it. That's the front and that's the back. Shows you how to use it in very simple terms. Just taking it in the middle again. Formalities for the sale of land. Another very important area, statute based again. You've got here chapter summaries and things like putting it into practice, because remember, when you're doing a problem question, you're dealing with specifics the way I do when I'm dealing with a client. So you do need to know what the practical implications of what you're advising on are about. Things like common pitfalls, I think, are also very helpful too. So thank you very much indeed to all concerned for an excellent publication. Bye-bye.